Yeah, welcome back to the session. Let's see the further contents in function. Yeah, the next thing is anonymous functions, or it is also called as lambda function, which are not declared by using def keyword. So far what we had done is when we were creating or when we are creating a function, we used to use a keyword called def, but in the anonymous function we don't use. Rather, we use a lambda keyword to create such functions. Lambda function can take any number of arguments, but it can have only one expression. It will have its own local namespace and cannot access variables other than those parameter list. So here we can see an syntax that is lambda, and whichever the arguments we want to provide, that can be provided in the square bracket colon expression. Here the expression can be provided. So here a few examples we can see, that is the definition for that function, that is sum is equal to lambda argument 1 comma argument 2. So these are the only two arguments which we are going to use, and the what is done with the help of those arguments, that is addition. We are adding those two arguments, and calling the function can be done like this: sum of 10 comma 20, sum of 20 comma 20. And here is one more example, that is the lambda a is the only argument, and what is being done is 10 is added to that. So we are calling the function x of 5. 5 value will be assigned to a. So the final the result will be 15. So in the same way, 5 and 6, those are the values which are passed to a and b, and finally the multiplication will happen, and the value will gets printed. So let's see how it works, that lambda function. So here let me call x is equal to lambda a plus 10, print x of 5. So the value which is getting printed is 15. The other example we have seen, right, a comma b. So what is done is the multiplication on those two variables, and the values which is getting passed 5 comma 2. So the value is 10. So in that way can be performed, and this is about anonymous function or a lambda function. Next is Python docstring, or it is also called as documentation string, which provides a convenient way of associating documentation with Python modules, functions, classes, and methods. It's like a comment. It should start with a capital letter and it should end with a period. So first line should be it must be a short description. It can have more number of lines. The second line should be blank, visually separating the summary from the rest of the description. You can see here where declaring the docstring can be done in the triple double quotes just below the class or method or a function declaration. You can access the docstring like this by providing the underscore method of the object. Okay, here's an example. Define power. So there is the a comma b, these are the two arguments, and this is docstring, which has been provided in the triple double quotes, and other statement that is a written statement of this. And print power, what has been given here, if at all, if you want to print power dot that underscore, sorry, underscore. So in this way, if it is a single line and if it is a multi-line, it can be given like this. End parameter in print. So by default, Python, what it does is it prints function, the print function which ends with a new line. You may wonder how to print without new line. So for that, we can use a parameter called end. You can see here end, and you can end a print statement with any character. So you can specify here, as we are seeing the example, the end must be space or anything, or without space, or it must end with like this at symbol. So in that way it can be provided. So let's use this example and print it. Okay. So when we copy, what happens is the double quotes doesn't match with these things. Yeah. See, welcome to New Horizon. It has printed like this. So as we are seeing in the other example, if you want it to end with the ampersand, at symbol, New Horizon, Python at New Horizon. So Python has ended with the symbol at. So this is about n parameter, and let's see this example also. Let's the docstring example. Happened. Okay. See, it returns argument 1 least power argument 2. So whatever has been given in that triple double quotes, it's getting printed. Because usually whatever is given in the comment will not get printed. If at all, if you want it to get printed along with the output, so it can be done with the help of docstring, or that's called documentation string. So this is about the thing. So in this session, we have seen anonymous function, which is a lambda function. It can be, have a number, any number of arguments, and it has only one expression, and it can be like, if at all, if we are gonna use any attributes, we have to use which is provided in that, and documentation string, which can be, which is provided in the quotes, also can be printed, and the end parameter. At all, if we want it to be ended with the particular character, that can be given with the help of end parameter. So that's about the PPTs. Let's see some of the example using function. So let's see a bubble sort. So far we had done a small programs, and now let's see some in terms of data structure. Okay, we'll create a function called bubble sort, which takes a list of arguments, where inside the function we'll have a loop with a loop variable I, which counts the length of the list -1 to 1, and create an inner loop with a loop variable that counts from 0 to I minus 1. Inside the inner loop, if the elements at indexes j and j plus 1 are out of order, then swap them. If in one iteration of the inner loop there are no swaps, then the list is sorted and one can return prematurely. So this is what the program is for the bubble sort. So let's do it. So let's create a function def bubble sort, and I'm taking a variable as list, so which has a for loop for I in range. So the range should be length of that list, right? So list -1, comma 0, comma -1. So what is the third parameter we have discussed in range? So that is, the third parameter is nothing but increment or decrement operator. So here what we are doing is we are decrementing every time by -1. No swap is equal to true for j in range 0, comma I, a list j plus 1 which is greater than a list j it's a float since we are comparing it. Then a list, oh, I wasn't sharing it. Okay, a list j list j plus 1 is equal to a list j plus 1 a list j no swap is equal to false. No swap, then return. A list is equal to, we have to accept the values from the user. List of numbers, enter the list of numbers dot split. Directly I'm splitting the values. A list is equal to int of x for x in a list. Then I'm calling the function that is bubble list, right? Sorted list, list int is equal to, okay, print a list. Enter the list of numbers to be sorted. here we can see a program. Yeah, here okay, it's the build sort program is ready. I'm entering the program, which will print the sorted numbers. Yeah, 0133589. So this way the program is getting sorted and it's getting printed. So this is for the bubble sort. So that's what when I'm providing the values itself, I'm splitting and I'm rather asking for the list of numbers and putting it in a for loop and accepting the values one by one from the user. What we can do is just accept the values and directly assign it, split it, and each one can be assigned to the list. And call the function according to that. It calls each values and it checks the previous value and the swapping happens. And after the swapping, so the values gets printed. So this is for the bubble sort. Next we have is merge sort. Merge sort. What we'll do is we'll do a program for insertion sort. Insertion sort. Do for the program insertion sort. Yeah, in the insertion sort, we create a function insertion sort which takes a list of argument. Inside the function, we create a loop and a loop variable I which counts from 1 to the length of that list till -1, and set the temporary variable equal to the element of the index I, and set j equal to I -1, and create a loop which runs as long as j is non-negative and temp is smaller than the element at the index j. Inside the while loop, set the element at index j plus 1 equal to the element at index j and decrement it. Once after the while loop finishes, now set the element at j index j plus 1 equal to the temp. So it's simple definition. Insertion sort, and again we are taking one list as a parameter, and for I in range 1 comma length of a list, then colon temp is equal to a list of I, j is equal to I -1, while j which is greater than or equal to 0 and temp less than a list j, a list j plus 1 is equal to a list j, j is equal to j -1, a list j plus 1 is equal to 10, a list is equal to input enter the elements dot split a list is equal to, as usual we had done it in the previous program, int of x for x in a list. So call the function that is insertion sort a list as a parameter, and print sorted list, sorted list. Let me make use of this end parameter so that we'll be used to that. Print a list. Enter the elements. Okay, a list. Okay, so that I have typed wrongly. A list. Yeah, here. Yeah. So this is how the values gets sorted in insertion sort. So now here what we had done is we have taken a value from the user, we have split them and stored it by a list, and we have called for the insertion sort. And in the insertion sort, with the help of for loop, we to iterate through each elements in the loop. So just we are assigning the first value to the temporary variable, and we are decreasing it, and we are one by one we are comparing and we are swapping it. Once when the entire iteration is done, it calls, it prints this along the list. So this is how it can be done. So in this session we have seen a program for insertion sort as well as for the uh, bubble sort, and along with that we have seen yeah, the uh, yeah, that is anonymous function and dog string and end parameter.